Summer is a busy time on the island of Sodor. Vacationers have so much to see and do. There are trips to the seaside, balloon rides in the country.
Yes, and of those, one other event was a brass band playing in the park. Now that's new. As far as I remember, there was a party in the Wellsworth Vicarage orchard once before. But this brass band was special, mainly because one engine was going to be in charge of bringing them there, and that engine was Old Faithful.
Thomas was pleased to see Edward. "What's up? Your smile's as broad as your smoke box." "I'm on my way to pick up the brass band," replied Edward. "The concert is tomorrow night." "Don't crack your smoke box," teased Thomas.
More like don't crack your voice, Michael Brandon. At least from that initial line reading, Brandon sounded like he didn't know what voice to give Edward. Oh well, it's not a bad interpretation. His Gordon voice was okay too. Did anyone hear that theme for Edward though? We'll get to that if you didn't catch it. Just like how Edward didn't notice a danger coming his way at the docks.
Suddenly, the crane swung the boiler and knocked Edward right off the track. Cranky had been watching. "You useless little engines are always in the way."
Oh no, that sucks. Edward didn't deserve that comment from Cranky. And who was that crane anyway? Not sure, but they're blind if they can't see a bright blue tender engine among all the dark colors. Quite honestly, I think this is Edward's first derailment. He's never come off the tracks like this. Not to mention, this threw a whole wrench in his plans.
That night, a raging storm rolled in. The fitters worked through the night trying to mend Edward. The rain pelted down. Now Edward felt sad and very damp.
Oh, well, at least he wasn't damaged beyond repair. Surely that would have been the worst news of all if he heard that. However, this didn't matter to him because Top Hat ended up informing him Bertie would be taking over instead, because of his accident.
"I'm sorry, Edward. Bertie will take them to the concert." Edward felt worse than ever. Bertie collected the brass band and set off immediately. He bumped cheerfully along the country roads, but there was trouble ahead.
Ooh, sure looks like it. Nothing like flash flooding to throw everyone into a tailspin. Looks like Sodor has been experiencing hurricane problems again. Nah, I doubt their geography would allow for that. Anywho, with all the blocked roads, Bertie's driver decided to take a shortcut. One that would end up doing exactly the opposite.
Bertie's wheels did not like the mud. They scooted, they skated, they slid, they slipped. "I'm stuck," he groaned.
Well, I guess the following statement applies. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Because Bertie had already tried to drive through mud in Edward, Trevor, and the Really Useful Party of Season 3. Speaking of which, Trevor's at the brass band event. So with Bertie now inoperable, the band members resorted to their last defense. Playing music hoping someone would hear. And somehow the engine with no ears did. Too bad Terrence is nowhere to be found.
"That's an alarm!" And they raced off to the rescue. The musicians were delighted to see their old friend.
My goodness, that was quick. And the people who mended Edward are crazy good. I wish people who serviced machinery worked that fast. Top Hat must be paying them top dollar, unlike his signalman. Nevertheless, Edward was finally able to take the musicians where they needed to be, and they were on time, too. Well, if that doesn't scream convenient, I don't know what will.
That night, the concert was a great success. Everyone loved the music, especially Edward.
Yay! This was a nice little story. I'm just happy we get another story about Edward, in all honesty. While Thomas and Bertie were friends first, Edward and Bertie have shared the same number of encounters together. Everything from Bertie's chase, Edward, Trevor, and the Really Useful Party, and this one. Bertie and Edward's friendship are just as meaningful, and it was nice of Bertie to try and help, even though he failed too. What was more shocking was Edward's accident. That probably hurt, even if it looked like a love tap. As for Brandon, we got to hear him voice not only Edward, but Bertie and Cranky, all of which sound okay. Music was a little better too this time. The new theme for Edward was certainly no O'Donnell Campbell tune, but it still goes along with Edward's personality, so it's acceptable. It's just not as peppy. It's better than the last few tunes we've heard. As for locations, Wellsworth Yards and Tidmouth Bay were featured the most, and it was also nostalgic to see the windmill and Normanby Fishing Village. It's been a while since those have been seen. Next episode is What's the Matter with Henry? Thanks for watching.